Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Leonardo Leite here, just to let you know that we'll be starting soon. I'm running a little late today, guys. I'm sorry about that, but it'll be only about 5 minutes, okay? So we'll start at about 3:05. Enjoy the music. Let me know if my voice is sounding good. I am right here, my friend. Hello, hello, hello. I'm sorry for the fight, but I had to do some final adjustments here into this beautiful, I don't know if you can see it. Yes, I have a new mic. And you please let me know if the sound of my voice is okay, especially now that I stopped the music. Right? Okay, let's see if we can. Oops, camera shaking here. Okay, right there. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very excited about this new mic here. Let me know if the sound of my voice is okay, if it's too loud or if it's too low. Hello, Anna Alchemy, the dearest, the most loving moderator here at the club. Yes, one says, well, if the sound is okay for one and the sound is low for another, so let's go halfway here. So we can, yes, oh, it is low. So now it's high. I believe it's high. Or maybe I should speak closer to the microphone, right? Okay. All right, I'm still getting used to this new mic here, which is exactly the same, as Mairo Vergara's microphone. So now you can't complain about the quality of the sound of this wonderful class. And welcome to one more magic story. I am Leonardo Leite. If you haven't met me yet, if you're here for the first time, this is one Wednesday of magic stories. Normally we have magic stories every Wednesday, usually, okay? As a standard, we have magic stories here every Wednesday. And last week, my desk is a mess, oh my God. Last week, we did a story, right? We did a letter. We're going to continue with the letters. Do you like the letters? I love the letters. As you notice, we are leveling up. We're going up the level, right? So if you take the first magic stories, the stories that were created by me to help you understand this process of training, this training process, and now we are using real stories. Real people normally write these letters. And so our class today, our magic story today will be divided into two parts. First, we're going to read a different letter. And in this letter, when I read this letter for the first time, I'm looking at the letter here right now. And the name, let me see here. The name of the guy is Overworked in New York, okay? There's a guy who lives in New York and he's overworked, but he's also unemployed. Let me put the story here for you. Hold on a second. I guess, okay, let me know. Guys, do you like this setting here in the screen? But no, I believe that you can read better. You can read better this one here, right? So we're gonna read the letter here, and then we move on to this screen here, in which I can I can write some notes here. Or maybe we can use this screen here in which you can see your comments. All right? But anyway, this story called Unemployed and Overworked. It's the story of a guy. Let me hide the story here for a moment. It's the story of a guy who is complaining about overworking, but he doesn't have a job. Okay, this guy doesn't have a job. And from what I could feel in his letter, he comes from a nice family. He comes from a family of physician parents. I'll explain the vocabulary, and he has brothers and sisters. And he's complaining that he's been working too much. Let's find out what's going on with unemployed and overworked in New York. Are you ready? Is everybody here with me? I'm sorry I couldn't say hello to everybody because I was 5 minutes late, so I didn't want you to wait so long. But the sound is great, right? Okay, good. So now let's go to the letter here. Let's take a look at the letter. All right. Let's put the letter here. Okay, here we go. Unemployed and overworked. Dear Abby, I'm an unemployed and looking 24-year-old male who is the oldest of 4. My 3 sisters are a 20-year-old who has a part-time job and goes to college, a 14-year-old and a 12-year-old. We all live at home with our physician parents. Our longtime cleaning lady recently quit, and my parents seemingly have no interest in hiring a replacement. My sisters and my father don't help with the chores because they're seen as either too young or too busy. At most, they will unload groceries or assist in cooking a meal. My mother encourages this and does a fair amount of the work herself, but she has a job. So I'm frequently told to handle the dishes, cooking, pickups and drop-offs for after-school activities, garbage and recycling, groceries, miscellaneous errands, usually picking up things at the pharmacy, and occasional child care. I get no sympathy or help. My sisters don't even bother to rinse their plates properly. They just leave them piled in the sink for someone else. And my mother recently yelled at me for giving her attitude when I hadn't said a word. The situation is making it harder for me to get a job because I'm tired all the time. And my parents don't listen to a word I say. I'm not unaware of the fact that as the oldest, more is expected of me. Okay, but I think this is well past the point of what's expected. What should I do? Overworked in New York. And here comes the answer from Dear Abby. Dear Overworked, start reviewing your options. The first thing you need to do is understand why you are unemployed. If there are no openings in your field, start considering other kinds of jobs you may be suited for. If you want to be something more than an unpaid domestic worker, you may have to figure out what will take for you to live on your own. Perhaps with a roommate or two. Even if you don't find the ideal job, employment will solve your problem because you will be too busy working to do the things you are being required to do now. All right. I love these letters. I love these letters. They are really nice. Okay, let's check here in the chat box. Let's take a look at the chat box here. And from this reading, from the first reading, was it easy, difficult, it was okay? Tell me from the first reading, from the first listening now. Because we're going to do some more listening activities here. But from this first reading, what did you think of this letter? What did you think of this letter? In the chat box? Anyone? All right. Emerson says easy. Conde Souza says difficult. Priscilla, easy. That's easy, isn't it? Now, it's okay. Reynaldo says it's okay. Okay, in this case here, will mean sometimes difficult, sometimes easy. Right? More or less. More or less. Eliette, remember, the best word, the best phrase for more or less is it's okay. Okay, okay, good, good. So now let's take a look at the vocabulary here, and I believe you are going to be able to read this. So let's put this here. Okay, I'm going to write the... You can see my letters here, right? Yes, okay. Good. So now let's talk about some vocabulary here. Let's take a look. Unemployed and overworked. Well, that's very easy. Unemployed, it means not having a job. Okay? That's unemployed. So you can say, for example, unemployment, which is the noun of unemployed is an adjective. I am unemployed. He is unemployed. Overworked in New York is unemployed. But unemployment is one of the biggest problems we have in our country nowadays. Okay? Unemployment, which means that the number of people who are unemployed. And overworked, you know what overworked is, right? Overworked. Working too much. Overworked is normally tired because you are working too much. Okay? Overworked. So unemployed and overworked. And he says, I am an unemployed, oh, right here. I am an unemployed and looking. And looking means that he's looking for a job. Okay? 24-year-old male. Now, this is interesting. And this is a very common sentence in English. A 24-year-old male. Notice that we don't say 24 years. We say 24-year-old male. Because 24-year-old in this case here is an adjective, is a quality of this person here, male. Male means man. All right? So I'm a 24-year-old male. Now, let me explain this to you. A man who is 24 years old. That's it. I've already explained this here before, haven't I? I think I have. For example, a $100,000 car, which means it's a car that costs $100,000. But when we want to explain something that way, you just say $100 car. $1 million house. The 6 million. I remember. I gave the example of the $6 million man. $6 million man. Right? So he says here, I am an unemployed and 24-year-old male who is the oldest of 4. My 3 sisters are, and then he describes again, a 20-year-old. It's very common in English and completely inexistent in Portuguese. That is the fucking problem, right? This is the fucking problem. Because it's completely different from Portuguese. So if you want to say that ele tem uma irmã de 20 anos de idade, in English, you're not going to say he has a sister who is 20 years old. You're going to say he has a 20-year-old sister. He has a 14-year-old sister. He has a 12-year-old sister. Right? It becomes an adjective. And then you can ask me, but Leo, why can't I say he has a sister who is 24 years old? You can say it, my friend. All right? But it's much simpler, much easier, and much faster if you say he's got a 20-year-old sister. You see? He has a 20-year-old sister. And another 14-year-old sister and a 12-year-old sister, right? And he continues explaining the 20-year-old sister here who has a part-time job and goes to college. A part-time job, let me show you here. A part-time job, and I think I explained this here in another magic story. A part-time job is a job that you work only half a day. A job that you work only half a day. Half a day. Half one day. Yes, that's it. Okay? So she has a part-time job and she goes to college. A 14-year-old, and here he doesn't even say sister, okay? A 14-year-old and a 12-year-old. We all live at home with our physician parents. Physician is the same as a doctor. It's a medical doctor. So both parents are physicians. So probably very busy, right? Let's move on here. Our longtime cleaning lady. A longtime cleaning lady is a cleaning lady that worked for them for a long time. Okay? Long time cleaning lady. And cleaning lady is the person who cleans the house. Okay? The person who cleans the house. Long time cleaning lady. You can use long time with other things. For example, long time relationship. Okay? A long time friendship. What's a long time friendship? A long time friendship is a friendship that lasts for a long time. That's a long time friendship. A long time marriage. Clear? Okay, good. For example, some people here, that's a good example. Some people here, they are long-time VIP members. Are you a long-time VIP member? Or are you a newcomer? Or are you a freshman? Let me know. Let me know. Let's continue here. Long-time cleaning lady, our long-time cleaning lady recently quit. Quit is to say, I'm sorry, but I'm leaving the job. Okay? So quit the job. Here, quit the job is to leave the job. She doesn't work there anymore. Okay? She doesn't work there anymore. So our longtime cleaning lady recently quit, and my parents seemingly, which is the same as apparently, okay? Is the same as apparently. All right? Apparently have no interest in hiring a replacement, contracting a substitute cleaning lady. So my parents seemingly have no interest in hiring a replacement. My sisters and my father don't help me here. My sisters and my father don't help me with the chores. Excuse me. They don't help me with the chores. Now, let me explain to you what chores are. Chores are tasks. The same as tasks. What are tasks? Duties, tarefas, chores. Normally, household chores. Okay? Cleaning the dishes, cleaning the house. These are the chores. What is your favorite chore, or what is the household chore that you hate? Let me know. What chores do you love doing, and what chores do you hate doing? Oh, okay. Priscilla says a long-time VIP member. Good, Priscilla. All right. So they don't help with the chores because they are seen as either too young or too busy. When we say they are seen, is that they are considered to be either too young or too busy. This guy here has 3 sisters, right? A 20-year-old who goes to college, right? And she has a part-time job too. And 2 kids, 14 and 12, right? At most, they will unload groceries or assist in a cooking meal. Oops. Or assist in a cooking meal. We will learn lots of chores here in this letter. At most means no máximo. No máximo. They will unload groceries or assist in a cooking meal. Unload groceries is that when somebody comes from the store with the groceries, with the food in the car, and he goes there and unloads the car. They take the groceries and put them away in the house, right? Or assist in cooking a meal, or help, or they help cooking a meal. My mother encourages this. Okay, she encourages this and does a fair amount of work herself. Do you know what a fair amount? A fair amount is a good quantity, a fair quantity. I would say that a fair amount is the same as bastante. Bastante, uma quantidade razoável. Okay? A fair amount of the work herself, but she has a job. So I'm frequently told to handle the dishes. Now, I am frequently told is the same as they tell me. They, the family, everybody tells me to handle the dishes. Handle the dishes means clean the dishes. Clean the dishes, handle the dishes, cooking, pickups and drop-offs. Pickups and drop-offs is things that you go pick up and things that you go take somewhere else. All right? É o leve e traz. Pickups and drop-offs é o leve e traz. Okay? Leve e traz. For after school activities. Garbage, recycling, Groceries. Groceries is everything that you buy at the supermarket or at the grocery store or at the pharmacy. Miscellaneous errands. Guys, you know what a miscellaneous is, right? Errands is everything that we do on a daily basis, on some things that we do all the time. Let me give you some examples of errands, and I'm gonna put it right here. Errands. Example: go to the bank, pick up the clothes at the cleaners, right? Go to the grocery store, and so on. Things that we normally do. And the best phrase for errands, you can do the errands or you can run. You can run some errands. So a good phrase is, oh, I'm gonna go out and run some errands. Bye, honey. Or yesterday, as I was running some errands near my house, I met a friend. Running errands. Okay? Okay. Now, Ben Emoda says here, somebody help me to suit yourself. Benny, we haven't gotten there yet. Be patient, my friend. We're gonna get there. All right? We will help you. Anyway, recycling, groceries, miscellaneous errands, usually, and he explains, usually picking up things at the pharmacy, and occasional child care. Occasional child care is obvious that is taking care of his sisters, his younger sisters, the 14-year-old and the 12-year-old. I get no sympathy or help. I get no sympathy or help. He's saying that nobody helps him and nobody cares. Nobody cares about him. My sisters don't even bother to rinse their plates properly. Who knows what rinse their plates properly? Okay, my sisters don't even bother to do something. É dar bola para fazer alguma coisa, se importar de fazer alguma coisa. Elas nem se importam em enxaguar os pratos. Oh, that's it. Rinse their plates. To rinse the plates is to put water in the plates before you put them in the dishwasher. They just leave them piled in the sink for someone else. Leave them piled in the sink for someone else. And my mother recently yelled at me for giving her attitude. Do you know what giving her attitude is? To being rude. Okay? Talking loud or being impolite or rude to her. So she yelled at me for giving her attitude when I hadn't said a word. Poor guy. This situation is making it harder for me to get a job because I'm tired all the time. And my parents don't listen to a word I say. Oh no. And he says, I'm not unaware of the fact as the oldest, more is expected of me. I'm not unaware is the same as I am aware. And to be aware is to know, é estar ciente. Okay? So I'm not unaware means I know. I know that as the oldest, more is expected of me. But I think this is well past the point of what's expected. What should I do? And then, dear Abby says, start reviewing your options. Okay? Start looking at your options again. The first thing you need to do is understand why you are unemployed. If there are no openings in your field, openings is the same as vaga. Okay? If there are no openings in your field, in your area of expertise, start considering other kinds of job you may be suited for. Now, Benny, to be suited for. Let me show you what to be suited for is. To be suited for, okay, is to be appropriate. Is to be appropriate. So I am suited for this job. It means I am qualified, appropriate for this job. Okay? So a job that you are suited for is the job to which you qualify for. Okay? That's it. In Portuguese, and this is very important, guys, I don't have a problem giving you the words or phrases in Portuguese. Okay? Translation is not a bad thing because we're going to work with this story over and over and over. But remember, why am I telling you this? Because to be suited for, or a job that suits you, here. Or for example, yeah, let's put it here. A job that suits you é aquele emprego que lhe cabe. So this word to suit something is to fit, encaixar, ser apropriado para. But the word to suit has many other meanings. So you have to pay attention to the context and to the phrases and learn this as a phrase. Okay? For example, another common phrase here. Whatever suits you. Whatever suits you, seja lá o que lhe couber, seja lá o que lhe convier. Tá vendo como é que em português things can change? Right? So, whatever suits you, seja lá o que lhe convier, o que lhe convier. So, if that job suits you, that job lhe convém. If you are suited for that job, it means that você convém àquela posição. That's it. All right? If you want, let's see if you can, yes. If you want to be something more than an unpaid domestic worker, that's exactly what Dear Abby is calling him. Dear Abby is calling him an unpaid domestic worker because he does domestic chores and he doesn't get paid. You may have to figure out what will take for you to live on your own. You may have to figure out means you may have to discover what it will take for you to live on your own. What takes to do that? This is the phrase that you must understand. Okay? What takes to do that? What takes to do that? O que é preciso? What is necessary to do that? So looking at this phrase again, you may have to figure out what it is necessary for you, what you need to do to live on your own. To live on your own is to live by yourself. Okay? You pay the rent. You live in your own house, apartment, or you share your apartment with other roommates. And that's exactly what she says here. Perhaps with a roommate or two. A roommate is a person who's going to share the expenses of your living, of your house, apartment, your place, right? Even if you don't find the ideal job, employment will solve your problem, my friend. So what she's telling him to do is find a job, get a job, and your problems will be solved because you're going to be busy, right? Because you will be too busy working to do the things you're being required to do now. That's a very simple solution, right? Get a job, my friend, and your family will not require that you do the household chores anymore. And they will probably consider hiring another cleaning lady. Got it? Good. Before we move on to the reading again, do you have any questions on this vocabulary? Any questions on this vocabulary? If you do, let me know, because we're going to go over to the reading here. All right? Here it is. Are you ready? So, good. Let's do this. Unemployed and overworked. Dear Abby, I am an unemployed and looking 24-year-old male who's the oldest of four. My three sisters are a 20-year-old who has a part-time job and goes to college, a 14-year-old and a 12-year-old. We all live at home with our physician parents. Our longtime cleaning lady recently quit, and my parents seemingly have no interest in hiring a replacement. My sisters and my father don't help me with the chores because they are seen as either too young or too busy. At most, they will unload groceries or assist in cooking a meal. My mother encourages this and does a fair amount of the work herself, but she has a job, so I'm frequently told to handle the dishes, cooking, pickups and drop-offs for after-school activities, garbage and recycling, groceries, miscellaneous errands, usually picking up things at the pharmacy, and occasional child care. I get no sympathy or help. My sisters don't even bother to rinse their plates properly. They just leave them piled in the sink for someone else. And my mother recently yelled at me for giving her attitude when I hadn't said a word. The situation is making it harder for me to get a job because I'm tired all the time and my parents don't listen to a word I say. I'm not unaware of the fact that as the oldest, more is expected of me, but I think this is well past the point of what's expected. What should I do? What should I do? Overworked in New York. Dear Overworked, start reviewing your options. The first thing you need to do is understand why you are unemployed. If there are no openings in your field, start considering other kinds of jobs you may be suited for. If you want to be something more than an unpaid domestic worker, my friend, you may have to figure out what it will take for you to live on your own, perhaps with a roommate or two. Even if you don't find the ideal job, employment will solve your problem because you will be too busy working to do the things you're being required to do now. Okay? Going back here to the comments, this phrase, run some errands, appears a lot in series. Ah, okay, yes. Yes, running some errands, right? You guys are crazy about series. I know that. Sometimes I go over the portal there, and it's amazing. Congratulations. I love series, but you guys are addicted to it. Okay? All right, good. So one more reading now without looking. You just look at me, my friend. Okay? You got to just look at me. Dear Abby, I'm an unemployed and looking 24-year-old male who's the oldest of four. My three sisters are a 20-year-old who has a part-time job and goes to college, a 14-year-old and a 12-year-old. We all live at the same house. We all live at home with our physician parents. Our longtime cleaning lady recently quit, and my parents seemingly have no interest in hiring a replacement. My sisters and my father don't help with the chores because they're seen as either too young or too busy. At most, they will unload groceries or assist in cooking a meal. My mother encourages this and does a fair amount of the work herself, but she has a job. So I'm frequently told to handle the dishes, cooking, pickups and drop-offs for after-school activities, garbage and recycling, groceries, miscellaneous errands, usually picking up things at the pharmacy, and occasional child care. I get no sympathy or help. My sisters don't even bother to rinse their plates properly. They just leave them piled in the sink for someone else. And my mother recently yelled at me for giving her attitude when I hadn't said a word. This situation is making it harder for me to get a job because I'm tired all the time and my parents don't listen to a word I say. I'm not unaware of the fact that as the oldest, more is expected of me. But I think this is well past the point of what's expected. What should I do? Overworked in New York. Dear overworked, start reviewing your options. The first thing you need to do is understand why you are unemployed. If there are no openings in your field, start considering other kinds of jobs you may be suited for. If you want to be something more than an unpaid domestic worker, you may have to figure out what it will take for you to live on your own. Perhaps with a roommate or two. Even if you don't find the ideal job, employment will solve your problem because you will be too busy working to do the things that now you are being required to do. All right, guys. So you were going to take this audio and listen to it again, right? And notice how I read this story. I put emotion on it, and that's what you should do, right? One of the exercises, I'm not going to ask you questions. I'm not going to ask you questions about this story. We may do that. We can do that, but not in this class. But you can try to retell the story. You can try to retell the story, and I'm going to show you how. Okay? And I'm going to show you how. Here it is. Okay, you know the story. So you start saying, well, let me retell the story of this overworked in New York, unemployed and overworked. It's the story about a guy who is 24 years old. You see, I didn't use he's a 24-year-old guy. Why? Because maybe you don't remember that you can say he is a 24-year-old guy. But if you want to use it, say, well, it's the story of a 24-year-old guy who lives in New York, and he is the oldest of 4 kids. He has 3 sisters, a 20-year-old who has a part-time job and goes to college, a 14-year-old and a 12-year-old. They live in a house, and their parents are all physicians. And he's complaining that he's been doing all the household chores in his house because he's the only one who stays in the house because he's unemployed. Well, just this part, so you can notice. Now, e se você esqueceu? No problem. You look at the part you forgot. Okay? For example, this part here. Okay, his sister and his father, they don't help because the sisters are too young and the father is too old or too busy. Right? They don't even bother cleaning, not cleaning, rinsing, right? The dishes. They just leave them piled in the sink for me to wash. What I have just said is not written in the text, but I can retell the story. All right? Do that, because we have more work to do. Are you guys with me? Are you guys with me? Yes? It's hot in here today. Now, the exercise I'm going to show you, and it's right here. Okay. Why am I giving you this exercise? Because last week I noticed that some people had trouble using the conditional perfect, and I think it's very important. And let me show you why. I think this one here is better. Okay. What I want you to do is this. What would you do and what wouldn't you do? I'm going to give you the situation. For example, you lost your job today. You are going to tell me what would you do if you lost your job today? And what you wouldn't do if you lost your job today. So what I want you to practice is giving your opinion on putting yourself in someone else's shoes. So if somebody lost his job, for example, the overworked in New York, he lost his job, right? What would you do if you lost your job today? And what wouldn't you do if you lost your job today? Right? So example, your sentence, and let me give you the sentence here. Let me clean this. Okay, here it is. If I lost my job today, I would start looking for another one. If I lost my job today, I wouldn't stay home and cry, for example. Right? So that's what I need you to do. And we're going to do this orally. Later at home, when you download the PDF, you can do it written, but I want you to do orally. All right? So our magic magic story practice is going to be like this. I am going to give you the situation and you tell me what you would do and what you wouldn't do. So the first one here is you lost your job today. What would you do if you lost your job today? I would start looking for another one. I would call my father. I would be very unhappy. And what wouldn't you do? Well, if I lost my job today, I wouldn't be very sad, or I wouldn't go home and cry, or I wouldn't talk to my boss and ask for my job back. I want you to think and give me your opinion. I know that I'm not going to hear you, okay? But express your opinion. Why? Por que que isso é importante? Porque na hora que você treina esse tipo de frase, você está treinando dar a sua opinião. Esse tipo de frase permite que você fale exatamente o que você pensa sobre uma determinada situação. Por quê? Porque você abre uma condição. Olha, se eu estivesse neste lugar, eu faria assim, assim, assim. Right? For example, what would you do if your son gave you an attitude? Okay? What would you do if your son gave you an attitude? Remember what give you an attitude is the best definition for give somebody an attitude é ser mal criado com aquela pessoa. Então, give me an attitude, ele foi mal criado comigo. Give her an attitude, ele foi mal criado com ela. Ok? Give his parents an attitude, foi mal criado com his parents. E assim por diante. So, what would you do if your son gave you an attitude? What wouldn't you do if your son gave you an attitude? Next one. We're going to go over the answers very quickly. What would you do if you were the president of Brazil? What would you do if you were the president of Brazil? And what wouldn't you do if you were the president of Brazil, of your country? What wouldn't you do? Again, what would you do if you were the president of your country? What wouldn't you do if you were the president of your country? All right. You can't afford a house. You can't afford a house means you don't have enough money to buy a house. O que eu quero que vocês prestem atenção aqui é o seguinte, é que onde está a hipótese, aqui pode estar tanto no past quanto no present. Só que é importante que você saiba que essa hypothesis é no presente. É o que você faria ou o que você não faria se isso fosse verdade hoje. Ok? Se isso fosse verdade hoje. Então, na hora que você for escrever ou falar, melhor falar, né? Na hora que você for escrever ou dizer isso, você sempre tem que... A hipótese no presente, ela é sempre no passado. Então, aqui, ó. If... Okay? If I were the president. Okay? If I couldn't afford the house. If my son gave me an attitude. If I lost my job. All of these hypotheses are in the present. São situações hipotéticas que você imagina se elas acontecessem agora, today. Então, toda vez que você der a sua opinião sobre uma hipótese, e essa hipótese ela se encontra agora, ou seja, se eu fosse o presidente, se eu não pudesse comprar a casa, se o meu filho fosse mal criado, agora. Ok? That would be the construction. I would, I wouldn't. He would, he wouldn't. Okay? Is it clear? All right. One more here. What would you do if your best friend's mother died? What would you do if your best friend's mother died? What wouldn't you do if your best friend's mother died? What would you do if you found $100 in the street? What wouldn't you do if you found $100 in the street? And the last of this part, what would you do if you won the lottery today? And what wouldn't you do if you won the lottery today? Okay? Good. Here we have the second part. Okay? The most difficult part. All right? The most difficult part. Now, pay attention. Go back here and you make your own sentences. Ok? E eu vou fazer do jeito que é para você fazer. Você vai chegar aqui no PDF. If I lost my job today, I would start looking for another job on the web immediately. If I lost my job today, I wouldn't go home and cry. If my son gave me an attitude, I would ground him. Vou colocar de castigo. I would ground him. If my son gave me an attitude, I wouldn't beat him. I wouldn't beat him. I would ground him, but I wouldn't beat him. If I were the president of this country, I would try to work more for the people. If I were the president of this country, I wouldn't charge more. I wouldn't increase taxes. If I couldn't afford a house today, I would rent one. If I couldn't afford a house today, I wouldn't finance a house. I would rent it. Oh, this one here is new. I didn't show you. If an old friend called me this morning, I would talk to him or her all morning. If an old friend called me this morning, I wouldn't go to work and start talking to him or her all morning. You can give crazy answers, all right? Be creative. Be creative. Okay? Use your creativity. If my best friend's mother died, I would ask my friend if he wanted me to stay with him. If my best friend's mother died, I wouldn't go out and drink beer. If I found $100 in the street, I would look for the owner. If I found $100 in the street, I wouldn't take it without asking for the owner. If I won the lottery today, I would get on a plane and travel to a beach. But we would still have our Wednesday classes. If I won the lottery, I wouldn't spend the money on stupid things. Got it? Do you understand what you have to do? You can listen to me giving you the answers, but you have to create your own. Okay? Create your own answers. Now, this one here, and guys, This is the last part of the class. This is the last part of the class. Shake it a little bit. I know we're going almost an hour here. Shake a little bit. Shake it. Okay, relax. Take a deep breath. And let's go for the last activity. All right? Are you relaxed now? Good. You can stand up if you want. You can walk around. Have some water as I'm going to do it now. Okay. Good. What would you have done? What would you have done and what wouldn't you have done? Use your creativity. Guys, esse aqui, a hipótese, é no passado. Essa é a parte mais difícil. Ok? Porque em português é diferente. So you have to be very, very careful here. E esse tipo de frase faz a grande diferença quando você está falando inglês. This is upper level English, my friend. This is good. This is good stuff. All right? Good. Jane, aí agora eu estou dando exemplo de outras pessoas. Então você vai ver que a Jane missed her flight last night. It was the last flight. Então, ó, ela perdeu o voo ontem à noite e era o último voo. The question is, what would you have done if you had missed the last flight last night? And what wouldn't you have done if you had missed the flight last night? Então aqui vai ser assim, ó. If I had missed the last flight last night. Ok? E eu vou mostrar para vocês como que vai ser aqui, ó. I would have checked in a hotel. That's it. I would have checked in a hotel. É isso que você tem que treinar. É isso que vai ser o seu treinamento. Ok? If I had missed the last flight last night, I would have checked in a hotel. What wouldn't you have done? I wouldn't have waited at the airport. You see, this exercise makes you think, my friend. You gotta think. Você vai ter que pensar. Você vai ter que começar a criar frases de acordo com o que você quer dizer. E vai parar de ser um papagaio repetindo as coisas. Just kidding. All right? So, if I had missed the last flight last night, I would have checked in a hotel. But you didn't miss the last flight. Jane did. Jane missed her flight last night. You didn't. But if you had missed the flight last night, you would have checked into a hotel. But you didn't miss the flight. Do you know what I mean? Jane did, not you. But what would you have done if you had been in Jane's shoes last night, when she missed her flight? Understand the exercise? Second one here. Michelle wasn't able to make a reservation in a hotel, so she didn't go. This is the situation. Michelle wasn't able to make a reservation in a hotel. She didn't go. What would you have done if you hadn't been able to make a reservation? What would you have done if you hadn't been able to make a reservation? And what wouldn't you have done if you hadn't been able to make a reservation? Difficult? Let me know in the chat box. Jack didn't know about the meeting that happened yesterday. Jack didn't know about the meeting that happened yesterday. What would you have done if you hadn't known the meeting happened yesterday? What would you have done if you hadn't known about the meeting? And what wouldn't you have done if you hadn't known about the meeting? Let me know if it's difficult or easy, okay? Susan saw what happened in the classroom. Some students cheated on the test. Some students cheated on the test. Alguns alunos colaram na prova, okay? Susan saw what happened in the classroom. Some students cheated on the test. What would you have done? What would you have done if you had seen that some students cheated on the test yesterday or any other time? And what wouldn't you do if you had seen what happened in the classroom? Question again. What would you have done if you had seen what Susan saw? What wouldn't you have done if you had seen what Susan saw? Mike arrived at the party late. Mike arrived at the party late. What would you have done if you had arrived at the party late? What wouldn't you have done? What wouldn't you have done if you had arrived at the party late? Last one, but not the least. Lucy didn't call the doctor. Her mom got sick. Now, what would you have done if your mother getting sick but you hadn't called the doctor? So the question is, what would you have done if you hadn't called the doctor? Or what wouldn't you have done if you hadn't called the doctor? All right? Good. Guys, questions? Any questions on this one here? Are we broadcasting? Because you guys are so quiet. Ah, okay. We're going on. Good. So, after you say your answers, you come back here and you look at the situation. You look at the situation. Well, Jane missed her flight last night. It was the last flight. Okay, if I had missed my last flight yesterday, I would have checked in a hotel. If I had missed the flight last night, I wouldn't have stayed at the airport. I would have gone to a hotel. Michelle wasn't able to make a reservation in a hotel, so she didn't go. Well, if I hadn't been able to make a reservation, I wouldn't go either. Well, if I hadn't been able to make a reservation, I would have tried to get an Airbnb. Jack didn't know about the meeting that happened yesterday. Jack didn't know. He didn't know about the meeting. Well, if I hadn't known about the meeting that happened yesterday, I would have talked to my boss. If I hadn't known about the meeting that happened yesterday, I wouldn't have pretended nothing happened. Next one here. Susan saw what happened in the classroom. Some students cheated on the test. Well, if I had seen what happened in the classroom, I would have talked to the students. if I had seen what happened in the classroom, I wouldn't pretend I didn't see. See, sometimes you have to think. Not sometimes, all the time. Mike arrived at the party late. Well, if I had arrived at the party late, I would have apologized to the host. If I had arrived at the party late, I wouldn't start eating and drinking right away. I just made that up, okay? Lucy didn't call the doctor. Her mom got sick. Well, if I hadn't called the doctor, probably my mother would have died. So I would have called. But if I hadn't called, my mom would have died. If I hadn't called the doctor, I wouldn't have just stayed home quiet. I would have tried to help my mom. Got it? Let's see. Emerson says, the second part is a little tricky. Yes, that's why I'm giving you this activity more and more. Because if you practice and if you understand, your English will go, whoa. There are so many English teachers in Brazil who don't know how to say this in a fluently. They get stuck. So, é normal você agarrar aqui. É normal você agarrar aqui, ok? É comum, é normal. Eu agarrei quando aprendi. But I learned. It's easy. It's not difficult. It's tricky, as Emerson said, because it's completely different from Portuguese. Let's see. If she had arrived earlier, she wouldn't have missed the flight. Congratulations, Eliette. That's it. But what you need to do, Eliette, is you have to do this. Adélia, I'm going to answer. You have to say it. So you look and you said, well, if Jane had arrived earlier, she wouldn't have missed the flight. You can talk about Jane. Eu criei o exercício para você criar, né? Porque o que você faria, o que você teria feito se você tivesse estado no lugar da Jane? Se você estivesse lá, se você fosse a Jane ontem. All right? Oh, it's okay. All right, good. Adélia, como eu mando as respostas para você? Very simple. This class is going to be on the portal, VIP portal. You can write your answers there. Every time you say something there, I know and I love it. So if you want to check your answers in the comments in the VIP portal, please do, and I will be glad to help you out with the answers. All right? Mas lembre-se, Adélia, eu não estou preocupado com a sua frase escrita. Eu estou preocupado em você dizer isso. Você tem que saber dizer isso. Isso não é para você aprender a escrever a resposta aqui. Esse papel está aqui na sua frente para te guiar para você fazer verbalmente. Verbalmente. All right? Good. Guys, if you have no more questions, we're done for today. 1 hour and 15 minutes. Guys, wow. That was good, wasn't it? This is good stuff, guys. This is really good stuff. Okay? I love doing this. I just love doing it. All right. Guys, thank you so much. If you have any questions, please leave it in the portal, lá no portal do VIP. All right, please do that and I'll be glad to answer any questions you have. All right, guys, thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you really have enjoyed this class and I hope to see you next class sharp at the same time. Ana Luisa Alckmin, thank you so much for your patience. Thank you so much for being the way you are. I love you very much. We all do, right? And Conde Souza asks, Leo, tonight, Cruzeiro or Corinthians? Corinthians. That's it, okay? Thank you so much, and I'll see you next class. Bye-bye.